Cat Williams just exposed how Ellen DeGeneres is allegedly taking Epstein's place and underage individuals to elites. Ellen's sudden decision to quit her show, followed by the deaths of some of her closest friends, wasn't just an unfortunate coincidence. Ellen was getting ready to take on a new role. Once you look at all the clues, everything that Ellen did starts to make sense. So, tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited? Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up. Nick Bryan, the investigative journalist who first published Epstein's Black Book in 2015, claims he was tipped off that a successor is still in elite circles. I was told there was a Jeffrey Epstein understudy. At any given time, there are various types of children that are protected. Bryant has been investigating elite works for over a decade and was even named in Epstein's own emails as someone causing a problem. Taking Epstein out of the equation doesn't mean that the elites he was working for are gone. These elites just switched over to a new supplier. The fact that hundreds of people who were in contact with Epstein were also in contact with Diddy wasn't a coincidence. Both Diddy and Epstein were serving the same clients. Now, with both Diddy and Epstein gone, the person stepping up to take their place is allegedly Ellen. I'm curious, who do you think? Yeah, I don't know what if you have an answer for this, but I'm curious. Who do you think is the next Jeffrey Epstein? Okay, so I was told that there was a Jeffrey Epstein understudy, and I don't know. I don't know if that source was correct or not, but at any given time, there are various Jeffrey Epstein that are protected. I mean, I know that because I'm a lightning rod for that type of stuff. People contact me all the time, and Jeffrey Epstein and Franklin aren't the only networks that have come around in the last 30 years. I mean, at any given time, there are various networks at work that are projected. Now, where can people look? What should people be weary of? How would someone identify this individual or this web of individuals? Well, with Epstein, he was identified 1996. Maria Farmer went to the FBI in 1996 and said that he had Trump. And so that was the first time that we know of where Epstein could have been stopped, right? And then still operated for 10 years. Here's the thing. Diddy and Epstein were from two very separate walks of life. Diddy was a media mogul and Epstein was a financier. There was no connection between them, right? According to Cat Williams, Diddy and Epstein had only one thing in common. They were both responsible for sourcing more victims. Everybody is a supplier. Epstein, Weinstein, like these guys, knew what these extremists liked and provided it, and provided the way for you to to have $1 billion and not create a fantasy island type environment. Has not existed throughout history, right? I mean, if I was going to run some global power organization, I would try to co-opt every single leader, try to suck them in, offer support, bring them out to wherever I have my meetings, fly everybody in private jets, talk about the climate crisis. All organizations have to follow the same rules. Yeah, that's wild. Recruitment is an important facet of all, like we have to get some young global leaders. Well, understand this is the only reason that we can talk about these big Illuminati-like entities at this period of time. It's just because of time, like they aged out, like you can't get in new. So everybody got decrepit over there and they can't exchange really. Emails from the Epstein files along with court documents from the prosecutors in the Ghislaine Maxwell case show that Epstein allegedly made deals with 25 different celebrities to bring them over to his side. Some critics of Ellen claim she was one of these celebrities. And the fact that she shut down her show and vanished from the spotlight just as Maxwell's deposition began, that's a pretty big red flag for them. So according to a newly filed court document, Galilean Maxwell, the former associate of Jeffrey Epstein, she was convicted of trafficking, sentenced to 20 years in prison. She claims that 25 men, maybe friends, associates of the deceased financier, have been protected under secret settlements, secret deals, and that this information was not revealed to her during her trial. This is on top of what she claims are 4 other individuals, alleged co-conspirators who were never charged. Obviously, I have thoughts. Is she telling the truth, particularly given her past in light of what she's trying to do now? If this is true, number 1, wow, And who are these people? What is a secret settlement? Can we ever find out? Can the public ever find out? So, I'm made of questions. I'm bringing on an expert right now to tackle all of this. These critics also point to the timing of Ellen shutting down her show. Ellen announced that she was stepping away from The Ellen Show and showbiz as a whole in 2022. This announcement was made just weeks after Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's closest partner, was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Allegedly, Ellen was worried that Ghislaine might snitch on her connection to Epstein and decided to step away. Ellen DeGeneres and her wife Portia Dassey have reportedly fled the U.S. bound for the U.K. after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication. The Wrap has the exclusive story and said Ellen DeGeneres and wife Portia D. Rossi have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most. Yeah, they're losing their mind. She sounded so sincere, didn't she? Very sincere. Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she? Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files. Release the Diddy files. Come on, Donald Trump, we want to know whose names. So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a bunch of hypocrites. The fact that Ellen decided to move to the UK is also interesting once you realize just how many people in the British royal family were involved with Epstein. Prince Andrew and Peter Matt, both extremely close to King Charles, were best friends with Epstein. The most damning part of Ellen's escape to the UK has to be all the bodies she's left in her wake. 4 months after The Ellen Show shut down, Stephen Twitchboss, Ellen's co-producer for 8 years, ended up taking his own life. In a letter to his wife, Twitch even mentioned that he was carrying a very heavy burden from his time on The Ellen Show. We're learning more tonight about the tragic of Stephen Twitchboss and the detailed steps he took to hide his plans. TMZ is reporting when Twitch left his home the day before. He took an Uber to a motel about a mile away. At the motel, he switched his phone to airplane mode so no one could reach him. The motel manager says he checked in Uber, or he checked in rather under his own name and never left his room. We also now know that Twitch left his side note. Details have not been made public, but TMZ reports the note alluded to challenges Twitch had faced in the past. Entertainer Tyler Perry knows firsthand what that is like. I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to commit suicide a couple of times. Because it was so dark, I thought the only way to make this better, or this pain go away, is save my life. Had any of those attempts happened, I would have missed the best part of my life. 2 months later, and heck, Ellen's ex-girlfriend also ended up dying under mysterious circumstances. Everyone who could have exposed Ellen was suddenly dead or silent. Allegedly, Ellen was getting ready to take over Epstein's role, and she wanted to get rid of anyone who could stand in her way. In May 2002, The Ellen DeGeneres Show was canceled. And then 2 months later, Anne Hesh, Ellen's ex-girlfriend, was in a really bad car accident where she flew her Mini Cooper into someone's house and it caught fire. And what has never sat right with me is the cross-comparison between the coroner's report and the actual aerial footage. The coroner's report says that she was unconscious until her death just from smoke inhalation and from being brain dead from the fumes in her brain. But if you look at the footage, she sits straight up, and that takes a conscious effort, I feel. But I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. But the other thing is her co-host, Twitch, died 4 months after that. And I just think that that's a suspicious amount of close people around you dying in weird ways. But I don't know. Anyways, this is my driver. And I went to the Ellen Show once and she gave me Magic Mike Live tickets. Anyways, you might be thinking, It's just a coincidence that all of this started happening after Ghislaine Maxwell's sentencing, but according to Cat Williams, none of this is a coincidence. Everything that happens in Hollywood happens for a reason, and the fact that Emmy Award winner Anne Hake and Twitch boss both died at the same time is proof that their deaths weren't random. In order for the type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing. See what I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you will be hearing who's losing money in all of these situations. It's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get not incidental, somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew. Don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama. Only got to see her once a year and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they keep this $20 million guy, but they reap $60 million in benefits. Wow. And they had some people from your city do it. Wow. I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses. But think about what you just said. Supporters of these theories have also pointed at how Ellen was trying to normalize and using human stem cells right around the time that Epstein was being tried. As more and more Epstein files are released, fans are looking back on Ellen's show and noticing horrifying similarities between what Ellen was joking about and what Epstein was doing on his island. For example, court documents show that Epstein was involved in harvesting stem cells from aborted fetuses and children. Reports point to genetics, reproduction, and long-term legacy ideas with billionaire Peter Nygård, also tied into the conversation. Now look at what Ellen was promoting on her show. Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. That how many did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do this? Not everybody. Okay, good, smart. Just those that I thought would appreciate it. Okay, explain what it is. Well, it's this way in which one forces through micro needling. It's like a little roller with these. Some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures a collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the skin. What are you pushing into the skin? Sarah, Sandra, Sarah, S. Carey, what are you pushing into the skin? Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores. But what is it? It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract its foreskin from a Korean baby. Chris Hansen also investigated these claims when he was looking into Epstein and arrived at the same conclusion as everyone else. There was a lot more than gestual crimes happening on Epstein's island. Dozens of emails released by the DOJ show that Epstein was interested in using genetic engineering to harvest cells from children and clone them. These cells would then be sent as a form of medication to his friends with the promise that they would help them stay young. He was a billionaire freakazoid. You know. Yes. And part of his deal, he's in prison up in jail up in Canada, waiting, charges all over the globe. But his deal was that he would allegedly impregnate young women in the Bahamas, where he had a huge home, and then have them get abortions and harvest their stem cells of the fetuses to inject in himself as the founder of youth. And we get into this in that documentary. And, was Epstein involved in that sort of activity? I don't know. That's where, and again, we just have to look at what we have and know what we don't yet. Yeah. But it's a question. Yeah. Yeah. And when you look at what other billionaire guys have done, there are even reports that Ellen has been reported for her alleged ties to the FBI. We know that even back with Epstein, the FBI refused to take any action against him, and it was only after severe public pressure that an investigation was opened into him. Maria Farmer, one of Epstein's most vocal victims, first reported him to the FBI in 1996, but this investigation was shut down and Maria was asked to leave. You can't help but wonder who was the head of this investigation and why they refused. Maria went to the FBI. It was 1996, and she was the very first victim to officially report Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to the authorities. But in a pattern that would be set in the decades ahead, her complaint was ignored. They just kept it all quiet, put in the bottom drawer, and they were so dismissive that I just felt daunted and I stopped. But by going to police, Maria felt the full force of Maxwell's fury. Terrified, Maria went into hiding and gave up her art career. What sort of threats has she made against you? Originally, it started with things like, I'm going to burn your art, and then I'm going to burn your career, and then I'm going to burn you and the house you live in. And then it was, oh, be careful crossing a street. You can get in the back of the head. They were threats against my life. And I told the FBI this. Folks who follow these theories have even started pointing out weird coincidences, like how the set of Ellen's show looks a lot like a temple found on Epstein's private island. There's also been a lot of talk about the crown and skeleton symbols from Jean-Michel Basquiat's art, which both Jay-Z and Ellen have been seen wearing lately. Some investigators think these symbols are a nod to the elite's occult connections. There are even claims that these specific images match disturbing files found on Epstein's laptop that allegedly link high-profile politicians to ritualistic and symbolism will be their downfall. Or is it just art? And let me be the first to tell you, it's all connected. I mean, if you know, you know. But first, let's go back to that video of Ellen DeGeneres. When the camera turns, you can see the inside of her house. Now see that picture right there? Well, if you pause it and look it up, it says evil thoughts with revenge right next to it. Here's another picture of Ellen in her house. And this is the picture behind her. Now, the thing I'm curious about is the letters on top of the picture. These look oddly similar to the letters Marina Abramovich writes out when she does spirit cooking. Remember the beginning of the video? It's all connected. And that person that was in all red is Lady Gaga. And she went to Marina Abramovich many times for teachings. But let's continue. This is another picture of Ellen in her home. She's cutting her mother's hair. But what is that picture above her head? Number 2. Nice. We could have done this here. Yeah, I was thinking about, but I was like, you know what? That's a good way to die. They're not going to let me buy that place. Look at it. Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? A similar image to that, right? No, I know Jamie does. What is it? It's on the set of a famous talk show. That's now not on anymore. Oh, Ellen. Was that Ellen? Yeah. Really? Just look at the temple and then look at let me see Ellen's background. What? Epstein's laptop wasn't the only thing connecting him to elites. Recently, Epstein's ex-cellmate came out and said that Epstein wrote about his successor in a side note. A New York Times report says a note was allegedly found by Epstein's former cellmate in July 2019 and has stayed confidential in a sealed court file for years. ABC News says the note is reportedly tied to Nicholas Tartaglian's case and that prosecutors have said they do not know of any Epstein note even though a DOJ disclosure referenced it. A side note allegedly written by Jeffrey Epstein has been kept locked up in a New York courthouse for nearly 7 years. That's according to new reporting from the New York Times. The report alleges Epstein's cellmate found the note in July 2019 when the convicted offender was found unresponsive in his cell with cloth around his neck. Epstein survived that incident and accused his cellmate Nicholas Tartaglione of records show a week after that accusation. Epstein told officials he had no issues with Tartaglione and felt safe with him. Epstein was found dead weeks later in what was ruled The Times reports Tartaglione recalled the note saying, "Time to say goodbye." The note was left out of any investigation into Epstein's death due to being sealed as part of the cellmate's own criminal case. It was not mentioned in the official investigations into Epstein's death. The Justice Department tells the New York Times the agency has not seen the note. The New York Times is petitioning a federal judge to unseal it. It makes sense that the person taking Epstein's place would be from the entertainment industry. Seeing how some of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood were friends with Epstein, and this reputation is what helped him lure in more girls. These girls would allegedly see famous celebrities like Ellen, Oprah, and Naomi Woods being thrown around and be convinced that everything happening to them was normal. But I mean, here's a woman who was eager to get into modeling. Met somebody who was with the president, the former president of the United States. I mean, how much more safe can you get? Secret Service agents there at dinner. Kevin Spacey's there, a Hollywood movie star. Of course, she thinks that it's going to be okay. She certainly didn't bargain for what happened to her in New Mexico. And she doesn't have any recollection. She has theories. We did this interview for Have a Seat with Chris Hansen, and and I knew her story. I had been prepped for the interview, but, things kept coming out of it where I was learning things on the fly from her. It's amazing. And this guy was, not prosecuted or investigated by local authorities there. He threw money around like it was nobody's business. It's also so strange, Chris, that to this, like, they're only now apparent, and it's very hazy what's going on. They're only now apparently going to look at exhuming some of the ground around Zorro Ranch or actually going in there. It's a hole. That's where this took place. Even Kat was surprised by what these celebrities were willing to do to recruit more supporters within the industry. Harvey Weinstein, for example, told Kat Williams that he controlled all major female celebrities, and in exchange for his support, he could have access to any celebrity he wanted. There wasn't for me because I knew I wasn't going to take it, but I did want to get offered. You know what I mean? Kat continues to expose these elites at the risk of his life, and it's only a matter of time before the elites running the industry get him. Whistleblowers like Kat Williams are being silenced. Kat said that the elites are starting to catch up to him, and it's only a matter of time before they get him too. I infiltrate the Illuminati and find out what they got going on, get the information, run back to y'all, tell y'all everything I know. That's my mothering job. But I don't know how many more times I'm going to be able to sneak in there. Thanks to Shannon Sharp and 90 million views, I can't sneak very often. So why I was in there this last time, knowing that my last report might be my last report. I went in there and I got information for everybody. Look at my white friends. Us too. That's right. White secrets. Okay. So because of the climate and the temperature of, go damn it shoelaces. Just to give you an idea of how much information is being kept from us, there are emails released by the DOJ where Epstein is clearly talking about victims to other elites. However, none of the files name these individuals. In fact, hundreds of thousands of files are completely redacted, so the people responsible won't be outed. Question: which one do you prefer? Lewd and lascivious conduct or procuring? I suppose LWD and lascivious conduct. I would prefer Ludwin lascivious conduct with ode if possible. That exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on May 23, 2008, is part of some 18,000 emails from Epstein's personal Yahoo account obtained by Bloomberg News. The emails, which suggest the inbox was most active between 2005 and 2008, include messages spanning 2002 to 2022. Epstein died in 2019, and emails received after that are largely spam or marketing offers. Overall, the emails offer a raw look into the disgraced financier and offender's world. While this inbox wasn't the only one he used, the newly uncovered emails do suggest how central Maxwell was to his life, something that contradicts her telling of events. She's characterized herself as a former girlfriend and property manager for Epstein, not someone with eyes into his vast influence machine or ring operation. She's currently serving a 20-year sentence for conspiring with Epstein. Maxwell was central to curating Epstein's inner circle. According to these emails, in some emails, she's organizing visits with the likes of Sergey Brin and his then-girlfriend, Anne Wojcicki. Sergey and Anne arrive tomorrow at Guana. Not even Ghislaine Maxwell believes the government's lies. And if anyone would know what was really happening behind closed doors, it would be the woman who stood right next to Epstein for years. So when even Ghislaine starts questioning the official story, people are obviously going to wonder what else is being hidden. Because this entire case has been built on missing names, sealed documents, redacted files, protected elites, and people suddenly going silent the moment the questions get too close to power. If Kat Williams is right, then Ellen might not be the only person people should be looking at. She might just be one piece of a much bigger machine. But what do you think? Is Ellen really hiding something? Or are people reaching too far with these theories? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Also, make sure to like this video and subscribe because more Epstein files, Hollywood connections, and celebrity names are still coming out. and we're going to be covering every single update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next